For the last year or so, I have been going through the book of Enoch, verse by verse. And throughout that time, I've seen so many comments of blasphemy. Blasphemy. How could you go through this book? So I want to take a moment and really kind of address why I strongly believe we all should be going through the book of Enoch. Let's start with the number one reason for me to be going through the book of Enoch is really what Jesus said in Matthew 24 when the disciples asked him specifically, when will you be coming back? When will the last days be? How will we know of your coming? What will be the signs that we can look for? And he says something peculiar in Matthew 24, starting verse 36. But of that day and hour, no one knows. No, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark, and did not know until the flood came and took them all away. So also will the coming of the Son of Man be. In other words, the days of Noah will resemble the days that Jesus Christ will return. And what does that look like? Well, I want to know. And Enoch was the great-grandfather of Noah, so he was there. He knew exactly what it was like. And the greatest depth of understanding you can get isn't just from a witness who was there. It's also from somebody who did prophesy. And he's recognized as a prophet in the Bible itself. And we're going to address that as well. Because we're going to see what Jesus says about Enoch when Jesus references him. And we're going to see what Jude had to say when he literally quotes him. And calls him a prophet. So, I want to start by saying that I'm not saying Enoch belongs in the Bible, and I'm not saying it doesn't. Even though some Jewish sects, including the Ethiopian Jews, do have it in their canon. America follows more of the British, Scottish Jewish sects, the European Jewish sects. So because they don't have it in their canon, we don't either. If we were to follow the Ethiopian Jews, then we would have it in there. But again, I'm not saying it does and I'm not saying it doesn't. What I am saying is that if you want to know what it'll be like in the days of Noah, which is really more of a spiritual understanding, you're going to really want to study out Enoch. Because Enoch also understood what was going on with the angels, laying with women, giving rise to Nephilim, and that's stuff we will be dealing with in the end times. Not maybe we'll be dealing with them. We for sure will be dealing with them because Jude tells us that they're still among us as he quotes Enoch. So we're going to go to Jude for a second. It's right before the book of Revelation, and we're going to go to verse 12. These are the spots in your love feast. While they feast with you without fear, serving only themselves, they are clouds without water, carried about by the winds, late autumn trees without fruit, twice dead, pulled up from the roots, raging waves of sea, foaming up their own shame, wandering stars for whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. Now, what he's talking about is there's demonic things among us. There's Nephilim among us, and they're feasting with us, and they're mingling in with us, but they are wandering stars for whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. Now Enoch, the seventh from Adam, prophesied about these men also, saying, Behold, the Lord comes with 10,000 of his saints to execute judgment on all, to convict all who are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have committed in an ungodly way, and of all the harsh things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. And he's literally quoting Enoch. That is in Enoch 1. Jude is literally quoting Enoch, and he's saying, according to the prophecy of Enoch, this is what it's going to look like in the end times. We would be fools not to study the book of Enoch. And Jesus himself even references Enoch in Matthew 22, verse 29 and 30. This is something that we just kind of have to quit being fools about, because the church is going to rip their shirts and yell blasphemy. But it's not. It is not blasphemy. Now, if I was to insert it in the Bible, you might question it at that point, sure. But I'm not. I'm just simply going through it. If there was a random guy who happened to be around during the days of Noah and wrote down what that looked like, and then Jesus himself says, like, according to, the end times, it'll be like the days of Noah. Well, I'd like to read what he wrote. It's as simple as that. But it goes beyond that, because there's a depth of understanding of Enoch on the spiritual level of what he saw with angels and demons, and how he was shown things by angels that I believe we could put reliability into, simply because, not just of what Jude says. And actually, I'm going to go to that verse in Matthew 22 where Jesus, most would argue, is referencing Enoch here. And we'll go to 22, starting verse 29. Now, Jesus answered and said to them, you are mistaken, not knowing the scriptures nor the power of God. So here he's literally saying, according to the scriptures. And if he's referencing Enoch here, then he's considering it scriptures. You are mistaken, not knowing the scriptures nor the power of God. For in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels of God in heaven. And really what he's saying is that, Enoch's the only one that wrote about angels aren't allowed to marry women. There was a really deep understanding of why, if you study out Enoch, it had to do with their dwelling place. Of course, the angels, according in Enoch, they taught the Nephilim wicked stuff, really the secrets of the universe that they weren't supposed to teach them. But even if they only taught them about the goodness of God and they just worshiped God and there was only good in them, it's still wicked, because our dwelling place is here on earth. Their dwelling place is the heavenly realm, so they don't dwell in the same place, and that really creates a terrible family environment. It's like, if I was to go to China and hook up with somebody and give birth to a son or daughter, and then I just leave and go back to America and I never go back. Like, that's the kind of father you would be. And that's just the beginning of the wickedness that there is with angels laying with women. But Jesus is referencing that. He's referencing that angels can't, they were given into marriage, but not the angels. Like, just don't be, what the scriptures say is what Jesus says here. And maybe that's a stretch. Maybe it's not. But find somewhere else where it talks about that. He's referencing something. And the bottom line is, for me, number one, I want to know what it'll be like in the days of Noah. And I believe that the church is yelling blasphemy at anybody studying out Enoch, and it's just remaining a secret. It's like a secret hidden thing. And I want to know what it'll be like in the days of Noah. Not just what the people will be doing, but the demons. What are they doing? That's who we war against anyway. The people are just victims and pawns. You have to come up to the conclusion this book is either it's all true or it's all a lie. A lot of people, they read the Bible and there's things they don't like. Well, that's a lie. And there's things I like. Well, that's true. And you can't do that. It's either all true or it's all a lie. If it's all true, Enoch was a prophet. It's either he is or he's not. Jude says he is. And then he quotes him. And he's specifically talking about how these principalities of wickedness and Nephilim are among us in the end times, that they mingle among us, and here they are. And according to the prophecy of Enoch, and then quotes him. Like, that's worthy of at least looking into it. Again, I'm not saying it belongs there. I'm not saying it doesn't. But what I am saying is that it's worth looking at, for sure. And I believe the church is just, anybody that wants to look at Enoch, oh, blasphemy, or actually reading it like as if it was written by a devil or something, like it was written by Enoch. Enoch was so loved by God, he escaped death. He was taken up. Like how many times did that happen in the Bible? Not that many. He was greatly beloved by God. He pleaded on behalf of the fallen angels to God. You know, he was in the mix of the spiritual warfare that was the face of the earth during the days of Noah. And he's really the only witness that we have that wrote down a ton of details. So it's worth studying. So I believe the church has hidden it. It's been terrible that they have, but they have. And it's important that we, if you want to know what the end times will be like, you want a little more insight, study Enoch. You're welcome to join me. It's one of our playlists there at our site on YouTube. It's interesting. And I, even as I talk, I find that, you know, if you watch those videos, I'm always in a cave. And the reason I'm in a cave is because as I prayed about it, God said, yes, go through Enoch, but do it from a cave. And I thought that was weird. But now I understand why, because it's just been hidden. It's there, but it's there. You can read it. It's there.